one or the other. Walter Brueggemann has shown once again that he is a trustworthy and seasoned guide for the journey. His vocabulary is rich and risky. Brueggemann understands that relationships need both security and authenticity. A relationship with God is not immune from those needs. Unlike many interpersonal relationships, authenticity does not jeopardize relationship with God. It deepens it. This takes practice and some unlearning and relearning. Giving voice and vocabulary to what is in there may uproot some of our assumptions and sensibilities about God. Once named and spoken, these things root us even deeper in the relationship now that they have been said. Brueggemann's vocabulary always comes with freight. He helps us reimagine not only the dynamics of a relationship with God, but also the one with our neighbors. A neighbor and neighborliness are not just polite words in a lexicon. Neighbors are real, storied people with texture. Some of them are easy to love on the grounds of their need. Some of them might currently be enemies who are on the way to becoming neighbors. The change of status from enemies to neighbors requires a movement in the heart of the one praying. Enemies can and should be loved, but this transformation of status can't happen until hard truths are spoken to God. Once those truths are uttered, the one praying is given new resources for reimagining others. The dialogue with God about enemies, neighbors, and circumstances is the stuff of faith that challenges, tests, convicts, and summons us to something larger than ourselves. Those familiar with Walter Brueggemann can easily cite by heart some of his memorable frameworks that can serve as maps. For the Psalms, it is orientation, disorientation, and reorientation. For the culture, it is therapeutic, technological, military, consumerism. For the contests between prophets and power brokers, it is frameworks of anxiety, control, monopoly, and truth to power. For those needing a map, Brueggemann provides these as potential scripts for navigating his prayers. Nonetheless, neither listeners, nor God, nor the world, nor Brueggemann is reducible to a framework. Brueggemann would insist on that. There are no simple formulas or shortcuts. Brueggemann is impatient with reductionism and every form of simplifying the hard complexities that go with a dynamic relationship with self, God, and others. Relationships require wrestling and negotiation. Sometimes those are contested, sometimes they are adversarial, and sometimes they come with unwelcome emotions that feel adversarial. Deep truths, long kept at arm's length, once voiced, set inner and external captives free. God's shoulders are large enough, and God's ego is small enough to take the hard truths of our lives, truths about which we should not bear false witness. This is some of the hard work of being in relationship, but God demonstrates God's own resolve in the person of Jesus. In Him, God reveals a willingness to meet us in the intersections that are honest, raw, and human. Brueggemann's prayers provide on-ramps to a new kind of relating with God, self, and world. The journey toward new relationships continues as we navigate a new world. On behalf of a whole church that has experienced its reality as collapsed, that continues a turbulent journey toward reordered lives, and longs to find our voice and vocabulary, we say to Walter Brueggemann, thank you for your prayers that help us orienteer along the way. Mark Nellison, September 2022. Preface to Volume 2. The theme for this section of my prayers, Journey, has been suggested by my editors. It is an excellent rubric for prayers, as the people of God, in both the Old and New Testaments, are indeed on a journey. They never travel alone, but are always on the way with the God who summons and accompanies them. And because of that travel arrangement, they are always in conversation with that God. That is, they are always engaged in prayer. Sometimes that conversation is peaceable and companionable. Very often, it is one of vigorous contestation. Faith is indeed a journey, and the conversation of the heart is one of the fiercest constituent members of that journey. Since God's initial summons to Abraham and Sarah, Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, Israel has been a people on the way in the Old Testament. According to the arc of that ancient tradition, Israel arrives in the land of promise, always the destination of the journey. Thus the Lord gave to Israel all the land that He swore to their ancestors that He would give them, and having taken possession of it, they settled there, and the Lord gave them rest on every side, just as He had sworn to their ancestors.